Yo, 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 what up, fam? It is good to see you out there. We have a great episode packed in today. Episode 30 of Collectin and Connectin. That's right, the big 3-0. We got a couple amazing guests, as always. One amazing guest, as always. A couple decent co-hosts. By decent, I mean the world's best. Glenifer, how are you doing today out there, buddy?
Doing well. I'm a little shaken up from the recent Knicks trade that we're getting to.
If I were you, I would be too. Three Ball, how you doing, bud?
What up, fam? Glenifer. Him changing his name's really messing with me, but I actually like it.
It's a strange new world out there, and we accept Glenifer for who
they are.
Who they are.
Great job, Brian.
Speaking of,
guest spoke up.
Already talking, we have the man, the myth, the legend, Top Shot Yoda himself, aka Ryan.
Yo, hey everybody, guys, thank you so much for having me. I appreciate it. It's been a long time coming. I think we tried about 37 different times, but I'm happy to be on the show now. Been a Collectin and Connectin Twitter member for a while now, and you guys are all good dudes, and I'm excited to be here. So thank you. My first ever official Top Shot pod of any kind. So thank you guys.
Very cool.
The premiere of Top Shot Yoda. We got him here on screen.
Right. And you're supporting that beautiful shirt you got on there too. What a great shirt choice.
Had to go with the NLL. My only official Top Shot merchandise of anything, and it's got to be NLL. Been in NLL for I think 2 years now. 2 years. And awesome. Thanks to Eddie Dunks who got me started with that. Eddie Dunks, shout out. Okay. Top Shot member, he and I started talking about our collections when I wrote my first thing way back when. So excited to be here.
With a name drop like Eddie Dunks, that definitely gets our attention. Then you just said you wrote something about Top Shot. Let's just jump into that. You were writing for Top Shot?
So I kind of found out, I was following Top Shot. I was, talking to people on Twitter about it. And then, I just had so many thoughts. I'm like, I want to put them all in one place and see if I can write about it. So Pac Rip, who now works for Top Shot at the time, had a little media thing called Pac Rip Media. So I said, hey, you have this Top Shot platform. I'd like to write for you. And he's like, great, send it over, sent it out. So cool. That was my first real interaction with lots of people that follow Top Shot. And it was great, honestly. Thanks to him too, because it was through him. And then Eddie had read my article and reached out to me on Twitter. And was like, hey, what are your thoughts on this, that? Or, and I was like, hey, what do you think? What are you collecting right now? And that's how we kind of got going. And, that was kind of the start of where I really got heavy into Top Shot, just as far as following the pages and the players and things like that. Not basketball. I've been following basketball a long time, but just following Top Shot a little bit more thoroughly.
I love that. You found Top Shot. You were collecting already, and then you started putting out the vibes. Not all of us are talented enough to write articles about it, but just putting your thoughts down on paper digitally, and then naturally going to find people like Eddie Dunks and things like that who ended up getting you in the NLL. That's a very cool story.
Yes. Yeah.
Plus another name drop with Pac Rip. We love him. We've had him on the podcast. He's fantastic. We love all he's doing.
No, he's a great guy, and it's awesome that he kind of started out as very into Top Shot. He was doing his own thing, and then now he's a former collector now working for the company, which means I think Top Shot's in good hands because they have a lot of former collectors that are now really involved with the platform.
Yeah.
People that really care about how the platform, not just a job, right? It's something more than a job.
Yeah, cool. Right. You have to have people any job you do, you got to be invested in what you do. But when we as fans also and collectors know that hey, they're essentially one of us, and now they can
one of us.
It's awesome to see because the platform is in good hands.
Anytime we get to hear Brandon Soul or Austin Kent or Pac Rip Ewing talk on Twitter or talk on one of our podcasts or someone else's, you can just tell their passion and how much they love the platform, watching the game, and following the NBA like we do. So
we're all Jacob, huge Knicks fan, and Pac Rip. Jacob and who's kind of now more in the background, but as far as like public facing, but he used to be on Twitter all the time. Well, he and Patrick both are Knicks fans, which is awesome too.
Jacob,
You keep saying
all the cool people are.
What is a Knick? What's the Knick? What's that?
We're definitely going to get into
I
the
thought
Knicks.
you were from Germany. I heard an accent. I didn't really know where that accent was from.
This whole episode is going to be about the Knicks with these two guys on here. Now we're talking Pack Rip and Jacob also. Let's jump in there. I saw Pack Rip's been tweeting left and right about the RJ Barrett trade and OG coming to the Knicks. Let's talk about it. Break it down, you two Knicks fans. What do we got going on?
Glenn, you go first, bud.
All right. So
let me pull up my spreadsheets here.
I was a little shocked at first, and then I started to analyze it a little bit. So RJ Barrett is obviously, he was drafted by the Knicks. He's a good player. I don't know if he's ever going to get to be the type of player that maybe some people thought he would. He's a good scorer. He's a fun guy to root for. He makes some big plays. He drives in a lot. But I don't know if he's ever going to be that guy. Watching him over the years, like his shot is inconsistent. It's sometimes there, sometimes not. He also, for some reason, makes really weird decisions on the fast break that lead to him getting blocked or a turnover instead of giving the ball up. And I'm sure Ryan has seen that too. And then obviously Quickly is a great player. He's a fantastic 6-man, great scorer. I don't know that they probably knew that he wasn't going to sign. They probably knew that he was either going to command such a big salary they wouldn't want to match it, or maybe he wanted to start on his own team. So when you add that together and you get a guy like OG who's just a phenomenal glue guy, he can fit on any team, great defender, great 3-point shooter, and don't forget about Precious too. He's still a young guy. It's his 4th year in the league, I think. He can be a backup center. We lost Mitch for the year, so that's a huge blow, but maybe he can help it a lot. And I could see that, Brett was so into it that he ended up leaving because he had to compose himself.
Yeah, that's our nickname for Glenifer, as we call him Precious every once in a while.
But Ryan, what do you think? What's your take on it?
So, first and foremost, we in my house, we love RJ Barrett. Okay, both he came up homegrown Knick, drafted number 3. Yeah, he's a guy you could root for. He great personality and would make some plays. He'd throw, last year he was the Throwdowns Challenge Award. He would throw down dunks. He would make plays in the lane. He was versatile. He would do a lot of things. But he was also, at times, really frustrating to watch as a basketball fan. Emmanuel Quickly, great young talent, really good player. I just think I was trying to figure out why would the Knicks do this? And the only way I could, in my mind, think about it was when somebody's dating somebody and a lot of things are lining up, but something's just not right. That's kind of what I think happened with this Knicks team, is that they were, things are going well and great, but you're just not the one. And that's what I think happened, because if you look now, it's 1 game sample, the smallest of sample sizes. But if you look at how OG fits this Knicks team really well with what they do and is a complementary piece to Randall and Brunson, who are, people love Brunson. People have mixed feelings about Randall because he can be a little bit temperamental, but Randall's a great Knick. To go back to OG fits what the Knicks want to do really well. And also, somebody else pointed this out. But the fact they didn't re-sign IQ because they knew they weren't going to eventually sign him. Also because I think they knew they were going to use him for a trade. Mm-hmm. If they even re-signed him to the qualifying offer, they couldn't have used him. They couldn't have traded him this year, I don't think.
Yeah, it would have made it much harder to move him in a package deal if they had done that.
Yeah. So I think, the hard part for the Knicks is that they're a good team. Not that they have to go out and trade for somebody tomorrow, but I want to know what's the next step, what's the next piece. I had floated out there. I'm gonna get the 3 ball's gonna be so mad at me. I had floated out there that Luka was going to be the next unhappy superstar and was going to want to join Brunson in New York. But it's certainly not going to happen. But like, you know, you never know with these superstars and who gets unhappy and who gets. I really thought that Kyrie was going to like just drive Luka nuts. That's what my thought was. But 3-ball, who do you think might be like the next possible trade for the Knicks? Because it's hard. There's no unhappy superstar right now.
Well, that we know of. You stole some words out of my mouth about the OG and the Barrett trade and quickly and whatnot, just how the new team fits together. Obviously, we're going to see when we have a little bit bigger sample. But OG fits so well just because he's a defensive specialist. He can guard anybody on the floor. Quickly was getting a lot of point guard minutes previous to Jalen being there. And now that they know what Jalen is and Brunson has just taken over the point guard position, he's running the team and running the show from the start. And as you mentioned, Randall being a heck of a Knick, that's a good piece that they wanted to keep. So it makes sense that Brunson, Randall, and RJ all kind of needed the ball in their hands, where OG will more spot up in the corner and be more of a role player is not the right term for a guy like that, because he is a superstar, but he does all the small things and just so scrappy. He's going to get every loose ball that hits the floor. So I think that's just such a great piece to make them gritty and dirtier and just a much tougher team. So I think it's a great trade.
Are we still talking about the Knicks? Because I left, I went to bed, I woke up, I came back, and I was like, if I get on, it'll be time to talk about Sticky Icky. And then
no, we still have more to say.
King Brett brought up the Knicks and just bounced. Good luck.
So I figured that, one of my ex's boyfriends would come up, and I didn't want to talk about it. So
that was a good time to miss.
Understood.
I just want to say one more thing about the analysis. Yeah. So the fact that you have OG, he can guard Giannis, he could guard Dame, he could guard Tatum, he could guard Brown, he could guard any of these top players. He can pretty much guard. So the fact that they didn't really have that. You had Randall on Giannis, which was kind of weird, and Randall can't necessarily guard well like a Tatum. So that you have this guy that's going to take their other team's best scorer, regardless of whether he's 6'3" or maybe 6'11". That's huge. I think that's why he was so sought after. Yeah. And also, one more thing too, Randall and Brunson, just everyone knows they're very good offensive players. Neither one of them is a very good one-on-one defensive player, let's be honest.
Correct.
So you have to surround them with guys that can pick up the slack.
Yeah. Just one last, because Barrett and Quickly were such great team guys for Toronto, right? Like, so if there's any Raptors fans listening, I know we got some in the Collectin and Connectin group,
shout out Jurassic back.
They're gonna love Barrett and IQ. I just think the thing about making a basketball team is it's really hard to figure out how to share one ball, right? And the team builders, like the guy in Denver, did it well. The Bob Myers, he made the Warriors work, right? Like he got the Wiggins piece in there, so they won their 4th championship. But like the best, Pat Riley has known this, which is why I can't believe he. Left the Knicks back in 1995.
He sent a fax.
One more thing.
Yes, go ahead.
No.
Oh, yeah. Y'all both said that 3 times. One more thing.
Oh,
yeah. I love it. I wanted to fit in.
I'm a teacher by trade, so I could just ramble, and what thought pops into my head, pull it out of a gun. I get it out.
I love it.
We've only got one ball in here. We're trying to move it around and pass it. So we got 3 segments that'll all be Knicks oriented. So let's keep it going. We got Sticky Icky Wiki, where we're going to cover when we're researching for you to come on. We're studying the Knicks, pulling things up and finding sticky stories that kind of linger with us a little bit. Mm-hmm. I was reading about the Knicks, which go way back. Glenn, you know about this. So in 1946, they were founded, and which was forever ago. They're one of 2 teams that are still in the original city that they started the NBA in, Boston as well. So the New York Knickerbockers still holding strong.
The first basket ever, wasn't it a guy named Oscar Scheckman? Anyone?
You're going to know that more than I. That's not something I saw.
I'm going to say yes, it was.
We can look that up.
It was
sure.
That person you named.
Anyway, sorry.
Who were we to argue?
That's right.
Back when all the NBA players were white. Yeah. That's another story.
What's a knicker-bocker?
So we brought up them being champions in a previous episode, 1970 and 73. They got a stud, Willis Reed, who was a Rookie of the Year, MVP, just a dominant player inside. And the reason I bring that up is because more relevant to us four and somebody that we all watched was another monster Knick who got drafted in 1985. We mentioned Patrick Ewing earlier. I bet he knows about this guy. Patrick Ewing was drafted from Georgetown in 1985. What some of us don't know is previous to 1985, they had a draft system where they would flip a coin to find out what order the draft was going to be and who was going to pick which spot, who was going to have the number one overall. And in 1985, King Brett, they changed the system. They started the lottery system, which we see today, but they used envelopes, depending on where you're from.
Envelope.
Are you going to bring up the frozen envelope?
You know I'm bringing up the frozen
envelope.
So,
frozen envelope.
Yeah, I don't know what that is. I'm a Mavs fan. What's a frozen envelope?
It's a rumor. It's not necessarily proven, but they say that they put an envelope in the freezer to make it be the cold one, which had the New York Knicks in it, so that when he reached in there and couldn't see, he's going to pull the cold one. Number one overall, 1985 pick, New York Knicks.
The cold one.
Totally legitimate pick. Let's just throw that out there.
Man, a guy that just made y'all's team for 15 years. He got 11-time All-Star, Rookie of the Year again in 86 there, NBA anniversary team. Patrick Ewing. You guys got any stories about Patrick watching?
I started watching around the same time as Ryan, which was around the 90, 94, 93, 90.
Yep. Yeah.
So we were watching playoff runs.
There was some battles against MJ there, some battles against Reggie Miller and the Pacers. There was some exciting times there in the 90s. They couldn't get it done, man. Y'all were right in the championship several times and just in the playoffs. And
2 for 18, John Starks.
Oh, yeah.
Game 6.
Yes. No.
I mean, Tony's dad.
The whole thing about Patrick is they never got him in number 2. Like he didn't have like a true
didn't have the support.
Jordan has Pippen, Curry has Clay, and Draymond, but like they never got Ewing that true number 2. He needed a shooter.
Yeah.
The thing that I love about the Knicks too is I read Blood in the Garden, which is all about the 90s Knicks.
Yeah.
And how about their forms, right? And what you really miss is like people would be so upset. How could you not win the big one? Like I would kill to be that close. Year after year after year, like every May and June, it was appointment viewing. You knew, like you were going to be there. And in '94, like they were that close. I mean, the OJ chase also happened in '94. That got the little screen picture and first use of picture in picture. I think
I was going to say it'd be like being a Bills fan in the '90s. You were there and all over it, and never.
My
I bet you don't.
My favorite Knick fact, though, about the 90s Knicks is that everybody likes to prop up Reggie Miller as this Knick killer. But the Knicks beat him more often than not. And they also won the series that he hit. I think it's 9 points in 11 minutes or 12 points 11 seconds or whatever it is. 11 seconds, 9 points in 11. Whatever it was, they won that series. So, like, Reggie Miller was very good, very talented. But, like, I mean, the Knicks still beat him more often than not,
I got to jump in real quick. I have a quick little.
No way.
One thing.
So I watched that playoff game I think it was a playoff game where Reggie Miller ended up doing that. And the Knicks were up like, I don't know, 9 or 11, whatever it was, with like a minute and a half to go, whatever it was. I was very young at the time. I was in high school. I left my house and drove to my friend's house because I told him I'd drive over after the game. I got to the house and I said, "Oh man, how great of a Knicks win was that?" He goes, "The Knicks didn't win." I said, "Shut up. You are lying to me right now." No, he's like, No. Reggie Miller did. I said, "Oh my God." My heart sank. I will never leave a game early now. I'll never
And for all the kids out there, this was before cell phones. Okay.
Yeah.
So you would show up and be like, what do you mean? And then you'd have to like catch it on SportsCenter like 2 hours later, be like, wait, you couldn't check it instantly. So it was maddening while it was happening. But like,
It
Yeah,
must
I
have
can
been
only
so
imagine.
rough for y'all growing up, not having any technology at all.
Dude, King Brett, this
This is
reminds me, I know
horrible.
these two guys are going to know about it. There was a Twitch stream last year in 2023 where a kid was watching live the Knicks versus the Mavs when Luka scored all those points in the last 2 minutes and hit the tip in off of the free throw to go to overtime. And he was talking so much mess and then was crying by the end of the stream.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Up at the screen.
I bet you Barrett had something to do with them losing. I can't remember exactly who
Shot fired.
Of course. Oh, and time out real quick.
Yep.
Ryan.
One more
Leonard,
thing.
One more thing. Who's your all-time favorite Knicks player?
Ewing.
No
Ewing.
question, Ewing.
It's Ewing. Yes.
Has to be. He's a face of the franchise for so long,
I think
man.
Lennifer is going to say something different. Just wait for it.
And I didn't have like many jerseys as a kid. Like I just, I had, a couple jerseys, but like Ewing was my jersey. Like I still have my old school Patrick Ewing jersey, and then like to take what they did in the 90s and then to take what they did for the whole century of the 2000s, like it just it's crazy.
It's still early.
Yeah.
No,
Quarter of the way there.
So I was
quarter of the way there practically.
Yeah, 75 years left.
So Allen Houston was my guy.
Uh-oh.
Because I played basketball and I was always known as a shooter. And like Allen Houston just had the most beautiful form. That dude, it could, there's one, my favorite Allen Houston moment is he had a duel with Kobe. And I think he scored 50 on Kobe or there's something like that. So Kobe had like 40 something, he had 50, and the Knicks won the game. And that was like that game. I was so excited watching them go back and forth. It was so cool.
So
it's pretty easy to get amped up to play against Kobe. That's the Super Bowl every night.
They were guarding each other.
Nice.
Now the bookend to that Kobe story is how then towards the end of his career, when Jeremy Lin beat the Lakers during Linsanity and had everybody going absolutely bonkers. And like the Kobe game, I could be wrong. I think it was like a Friday. It was either Friday night or Sunday. It was MSG, the bright lights, and he outplayed Kobe. And I was like, who is this guy? And that's when the Linsanity kind of like took off.
What a time to be alive and watch that. That was, viral before viral. Like that was nuts to see that. Not even close to a Knick fan. And I was just cheering for that guy and wanted to watch every highlight. It was so much fun.
Did you guys watch the special?
The best 2 weeks of a basketball fan that the Knicks had in 12 years.
I wasn't going to say anything like that. I'll let a Knicks fan say that.
Well, they had the one year.
I'll second it. So second.
In 2013, they finished with like the second best record or something like that when they had Melo and Chandler and like a whole bunch of, they had Jason Kidd. They had that one year.
Players.
Would you like to hear my hottest Knick take?
Ooh,
bring it.
Randall is a better Knick than Carmelo Anthony.
I would actually agree with that. I would agree with that.
Yeah, and I like Carmelo. Carmelo was a good Knick, but I actually think that Randall raised the ceiling of the team. And like, I'm just, I get
Carmelo,
it.
But I definitely like Randall too. I think that they're both very, very skilled, especially for their size. And I look forward to seeing what Randall does in the future. I'm a hair nervous for you. You've name dropped a few guys already, so I know you got some fandom. Glenn, tell him about this game. Let's test him.
Yeah, it's called Name That Player, and I actually reached out to Ryan yesterday and said, when did you start watching? Because I didn't want to make it easy on him. I know he's a huge Knicks fan. I think he's going to get these.
You didn't reach out to me when I started watching.
Sometimes we had an episode. What?
Nothing. I'm just
King Brett. Wait till you see these, dude. When he sent them to me, I was like, man, this is the toughest one we've
Black
done.
and white photos. No.
It's like when basketball
back
started.
in 1948.
The first
Oscar
Knicks basketball game ever. All right, I'll stop talking. Y'all are good.
Yeah, so I made it pretty hard, but I think these are people you would know. You're a fan. You watched all the years, even when they sucked.
Yes.
So
that was a statement, not a question. Don't worry.
I think he'll get all three. I don't think it's a question.
I hope so.
All right, number one, name that player. Let's see what you got.
Patrick Ewing.
Right. King Brett, don't yell it out.
If you need help, I'll give you some hints.
All right. It's late 90s, right?
I think it's early 2000s.
Really? Wow.
Okay.
He looks so uncomfortable with that basketball. He looks like he is
I
not a
had
basketball
no
player.
idea.
As uncomfortable as me trying to figure out who this is.
All right,
This
so
is-
he was a.
I
he
know
was a-
this. This is easy.
You know how the Knicks
What are
had a
the-
lot of failed draft picks?
It's not Antonio Nice.
No way.
So he was drafted, I think it was like number 8. I believe he went to Georgetown.
Is it Antonio McNice?
No.
No. Okay.
You know what?
What-
I'll get-
He
what
pulled the
other-
name out.
What other NBA teams did he play for?
Ooh, good question.
Ooh.
Oh, I looked up that
Mike.
yesterday.
Well, hold on. Michael
Uh-oh.
Sweetie.
Yeah.
Hey!
Yeah, there you go.
See, you had it. There's just so much knowledge in that head of yours. You had to
Yeah.
cycle through it.
He had to get
Good
through
job.
the
Good
files
job.
in there.
You remember how
Unlocked it.
he was really kind of chubby too. He was a big
I
dude.
Yeah,
Hey,
I
so
needed the Georgetown hit because I remembered like everyone was like Georgetown, Patrick Ewing connection. I was
Yeah.
just went to the same school, not the same.
Dude, he was like a 6'7" chubby power forward that they thought was going to be awesome.
Yeah,
There's nothing wrong with being a chubby power forward.
No, but like
Yeah,
he's
easy
undersized
ball.
and he didn't have a great jump shot either. He was just he rebounded. He was like, getting putbacks and things like that, but he was not that skilled.
1 for 1. I was worried about that one. Let's keep it going. Name that player.
Dun dun dun.
The suspense is killing me.
Oh,
So I can give you some hints about him if you want.
sure.
Him and Shandon Anderson were traded from Utah when the GM came over from Utah. I don't know if that was Scott Layden, maybe. I can't remember the exact name. This guy was the most frustrating, unathletic, slow point guard to
Are you
watch.
talking about me again? Take it
What
easy.
year?
What's that?
What year was he a Nick? When was he a Nick?
He was probably a Nick in around 2004-ish. I don't know exactly, like around the 2006, 2004. He came over with Shannon Anderson to form a new backcourt. This is during the real doldrums of them, when they were terrible.
This is bad.
I've never heard of this guy, but I'm not a Knicks fan, so
If you want, I'll tell you. But this
I
guy
don't
was.
think
This is
Nick
probably my
fans
least
know
favorite
this.
Nick ever.
initials first.
Initially,
HE.
H.E.
all right. I
Harry
called it this time, and
Erickson.
so go ahead.
It's Howard Isley.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Oh, Isley.
Yep.
We
Now that
go
you
way
say it.
back.
Yeah.
He
Thanks
was
for not ruining
so
the
bad.
surprise, King Brett. I knew you knew it.
I mean, him and I like pretty much grew up doing the same things.
Wow.
He was so bad. He was when you watched him, he would turn the ball over. He was so slow. Oh my god, dude. It's terrible.
I will listen from in all, like, I watched the 90s Knicks. I would watch decent chunks of like the 2000s Knicks, but after a while I was just like, I just couldn't, I couldn't. Plus two, I went to University of Scranton, which is in Pennsylvania, and they didn't have MSG there. So I only got like dribs and drabs. I was like following on the internet a little bit,
Did you graduate with Michael Scott or no?
I did not graduate with Michael Scott. No, I did not.
Reference.
But it was when I was in college is when it started. So the whole what'd you say?
Sick reference with the Michael Scott.
Well,
No big
sorry.
deal.
Side note: another article that I wrote for PackRip was NFT Twitter as The Office.
Oh, that's
So,
great.
Yeah.
I saw that one. That one's really funny and making associations to each character. Love that.
Oh yeah, yeah. No, I love The Office. One of my favorite all-time shows. I'm so mad they moved it to Peacock. Because now I never see it. But I love The Office.
Yeah.
But sorry, I got sidetracked.
You're
Yeah,
okay.
we
That
got
happens
one.
a lot on this show. The third and final name that player, I think, is a little easier. I knew this one for sure. King Brett's going to recognize his celebration because a player in the NFL does it. But see if you got this one. Discount double check.
Is it Novak?
Yeah.
Steve
Wow.
Novak.
Instantly.
Yes.
Yep.
And
I made
one
that
of
one
the
easy.
because if you look at the now Warriors
How
in
people are dressed.
2015, the Knicks were actually like one of the first teams that started shooting the three ball all the time, which is why they had a lot of success. Like right around 2013, that's why that team was so good.
Three ball.
He would just pop them.
Dude,
Yeah.
he had a stroke from everywhere, but definitely in the corner. They just kick it to him, and that thing was going down.
Yeah, we always talk about how many Mavs players were Knicks players and vice versa. I was thinking Jason Kidd. He was on that team. He was towards the end of his career. He was just shooting threes the whole time.
Tyson Chandler.
Yeah.
Tyson Chandler too.
Yeah, we've gone through a full list of ex-Mavs, ex-Knicks that go back and forth for sure. Kidd, he was not a great three-point shooter at the beginning of his career. And then, like you're saying, at the end, he just started firing them up there and actually, was setting records for makes, percentages. Like he did really get a lot better through the end of his career.
They called him Asin Kidd because he had no J.
Hey!
You remember that?
I don't.
Shots fired.
I don't.
Another Office reference. Boom, roasted. Very cool. Great choices there, Glenn, and great job, Top Shot Yoda, getting 2 out of 3.
Dude, first time ever podcast. You're nailing it, dude.
Mm-hmm.
Love it.
So I got to say a couple more things. Just 2 more things. Just 2
one more thing. 2 times.
So,
one more thing.
There was it was like last year sometime, and there was an opening in our chat, and they were asking who they should invite in, and I actually advocated for Top Shot Yoda to come in. I knew you were such a positive influence in the community. I knew you were all about it, so I kind of nominated you, and everyone was like, "Oh yeah, that's a great idea." So I'm going to take all the credit for you being in the Twitter chat now. And
Thank you, sir. Thank you. It's been a pleasure. It's honestly like the whole part of Top Shot is that like if you're just sitting there collecting cards by yourself, like that's fine. That's what you like to do, but like it's a much better use of the platform if you want to like talk about who you want to collect, who you want to, hey, I want this moment, I want that moment, or hey, what do you think? Especially now as we segue into fast break time when we're talking about lineups every day. And the reason I was drawn to Top Shot in the first place is because I was a basketball fan first and foremost. And that's what drew me in. And I grew up collecting cards. My boys, I got 2 sons, and they both collect cards now. And like, it's really like, man, Top Shot it's been like a blast for me. Like ups, downs, ins, outs. It's a hobby. Like at least that's how I treat it as a hobby. I am not a millionaire, so yet, but one day in 2030, my moments might skyrocket. But not a millionaire yet.
We'll replay this in 5 years and then be talking about it.
Yes.
What a great point. Such a good confluence for all of those things. It's fun and much better collecting together, but like similar to watching a game. It's that fandom experience of you could watch it on your couch and be by yourself, which is fun sometimes. But if you're at a sports bar or at a friend's house or family's house or at the game, even better, courtesy of NBA Top Shot, maybe being and rubbing elbows with other fans and enjoying that with other people, high-fiving and celebrating, or being down in the dumps if it's been a little while since you've won. It's fun either way, but doing it together is a lot more fun, strategy or not. And you brought up Fast Break. Talk a little bit about that. That's been popping.
Has been like the hit of S2324 as they now call it. Like it joins pretty much exactly what a lot of people have been asking for, which is to take the moments that you have and be able to use them in a fantasy aspect game.
Utility.
It's great, and like I love, to me, the simplicity makes it the best because it's just 1, 2, 4, that's it, and then you just pick 5 guys a night. If they hit, great. If they don't, great. Some challenges, that challenge last night really got me miffed because I missed it by like 2 steals, but like that's what it's supposed to be too. It's like not supposed to be easy, but I love Fast Break. Are you guys all enjoying Fast Break?
I love it.
Love it. It's a lot of fun. And like you said, you're checking the stats and you're watching games from other teams because of the gamification, as well as, like you said, it's giving your collection utility and you're able to use those to do things on a nightly basis, much less just collect for 2030, big dog.
Yeah. If I could just say too, like I've been a big basketball fan, like my whole life. The 90s Knicks kind of like gave that to me. And then what happened is like in 2000s, I really started watching a lot of LeBron because he was on national TV a lot. And like, so, and then I would be a big bet. But since I started watching, since Top Shot, like I'm even that much more into it because I'm keeping up to date on the day to day. And listen, like I know this, I'm probably the only guest that has a story like this, but like, so I know you guys will know because of the chat, but like, you know, I have life circumstances. My daughter was born in March of 2021 with a pretty serious brain injury. She's medically fragile, and like where she is now, she's doing well, and she's doing a lot of good things, right? But
Good to hear.
Awesome.
but what happened is that like my time in Top Shot really like was parallel to my daughter being born, and like it's just an outlet for me. It's an awesome outlet and way to connect with like, hey, like it's honestly it's a welcome distraction in the best way possible. Like, hey, you know, you had a crappy day, but you get to come and talk basketball, or like you get to keep up on this or that, you know. And then to also, it was like pre-collecting and connecting, but just the spirit of it, which is in right around Thanksgiving of 22, when I reached out and said, hey, I want to do this thing, Treaticus, God bless him, okay, said, I can help. And we raised, like, you know, through my initiative, and then Rohan picking it up, and a lot of people, you know, donating, NLL helped out, as well as a lot of team communities too. I don't want to leave anybody out, but a lot of team communities helped. We raised $15,000 for the Ronald McDonald House, which is amazing.
That's so awesome.
Awesome.
It really just shows, like, you know, like just collecting like digital moments, sure, but like the people are what make the moments go. You know, like that's what this is all about. So sorry, I'm talking a lot there, but I have, like, for me, that's what Top Shot is to me. It's a great way.
Thank you so much for sharing. We got all of us got to see that posted online and on Twitter. It was really cool to see the other communities, but Roham and people in Top Shot just supporting each other and things. That was really cool to see. Thank you so much for sharing that. It's a great story.
Yeah. You know, it's funny. You don't actually hang out with the people. Well, you guys do because you know each other. But someone like Ryan, I don't know him. Like, I haven't hung out with him, but I feel like we're kind of like friends just because we chat and we talk and we have mutual interests. Obviously, we'll try to get together in person with a C&C get together at some point. But, you know, there's a lot of good people, a lot of just really good folks here. You
bite your tongue, Glenn. We're all your friends.
Glenn, you're just pumped because Yoda had that awesome, what was it, the RJ Barrett reenactment with your son? That was so awesome. That was so cool. Yeah. He's over there dunking. Like, it was so great.
Yep. That was for a Top Shot. Top Shot had a contest like that summer, like recreate your favorite moments. So I was like, Colin, let's go. We're going to the driveway. And sure enough, he like loved that, you know?
That's badass. You mentioned a great point, and we've talked about it in previous episodes and whatnot, that especially in 2020, when a lot of us started, we were all going through things with the pandemic, you know, worldwide, but we're all dealing with different things with our jobs, our families, our own lifestyles, and there's ups and downs for all of us. Some of us have more serious things going on than others, but to have an outlet where you can have friends even online, and that we can reach out anytime and immediately jump in the room and hang out with guys guys and girls in the Discord or on Twitter. We've formed such a cool group, and it's fun to have that outlet, as you described, any time of day, because we got collectors all over the world, so different time zones. You know, I know New York is the time zone, but
Now, one more. I want to say one more thing.
One more.
We had a fantasy football league, C&C Fantasy Football League, and it was an all Knicks final recently. So me and Ryan actually made the finals. So that was pretty awesome.
Very
We're
cool.
the smartest sports. I forgot to mention that.
Yeah, we're naming this episode One More Thing.
Glenn beat me by a point, but honestly, I was just so happy to get some money back. I was like, this is great. This is wonderful. So, you know,
we had a nice little split ahead of time where it was almost even anyway. So we were both having fun with it.
Yeah. No, it's perfect.
His team was way better than mine.
I lost everything. I got no money. I just got beat all season. It was great. I actually did come in first in the NLL league that also was through Top Shot. So like two of my fantasy, like even that's how Top Shot goes, right? Like through Top Shot, I have two fantasy football leagues, which I love fantasy football. So you know,
I happen to be playing Ryan in the fantasy basketball too, and he beat me. I don't know if you realize I was playing you last week.
I'm not in fantasy basketball.
Oh, you're not?
No.
We talk a lot.
Okay.
The other-
Ryan. Okay, cut that out. Cut that part out.
We talk all the time of making these online friends and collecting and connecting, but we're even doing stuff outside of Top Shot together with these groups of friends. I've seen lots of different stuff between poker, between fantasy, between just book clubs, whatever. Lots of fun stuff happening. So keep it up.
Dude,
It all comes back
just-
because we're going to be chatting about basketball later today from now until June. So welcome. I love it because people in my life every day, I think none of them watch basketball. They're like football fans, baseball fans, but like you guys are the only crazy people I know that like basketball. I mean that in the best way possible.
Well,
Love it.
speaking of crazy, one more thing, as my friend Glenifer would say. Let's talk about that for a second. You've had a lot of really cool basketball experiences, especially like I know taking your kid to game, just different stuff. What's one memory that you can share that's one of your favorites, whether it's that or going to a game as a kid or, whatever the case may be?
The Knicks games are expensive. They're super expensive. I don't get to go all the time. But I was lucky enough that, I was a kid a little bit. And then in my 20s, I went to a few games, but like I hadn't been to a game in a long time. And I joined Knicks Discord for Top Shot as a community. And last year, two different games. And one of them, it was awesome. It's like through Top Shot, I was able to take my older guy to his first game, which
That's so awesome.
RJ Barrett tied up the game with a dunk in the last seconds of the game. It was against the Packers on the King Day. So,
Dude,
and that was fun. It's a Knicks game, So
to be able to celebrate and share that with your son through Top Shot, that's really cool. That'll be a memory you guys have forever.
Yeah, I don't think people realize how expensive the Knicks games are.
Yeah, Glenifer's always complaining about that. But, I mean, we talked about it earlier with Kobe and different games you circle on as a player, those guys cannot wait to play in Madison Square Garden.
Yeah.
It's one of the most historic arenas in the entire country. It's been around forever. So as a player, they're looking forward to that. As a fan, it has to be the same. Like you can't wait to get into that place. It's just so much history.
Yeah.
And basketball games, like in person, they're just a blast. Like, I mean, it's a 2 hour, it's a 2 hour great time. I'm actually going. I'm pumped. So I got 3 kids. Okay, two is a 9 and 6-year-old, and then my daughter. Right. So my younger guy, my older guy, my wife. It'll be my wife's and my younger son Liam. It's their first game. We're going on Martin Luther King Day. We're going to get to see Paolo play the Knicks as the Magic come into town.
Wow, let's go. What a fun experience.
That's going to be great, man.
Yeah. I give all the props to my father-in-law. He's like, what do you want for Christmas? I'm like, I want to go with family to the next game. Okay, great. So.
Yeah, I also want to win the lotto. Can you make that happen, please?
Yes.
2030, it's happening.
That's right.
Yeah.
2030. It's super weird, though. Go ahead.
My Tim Hardaway Jr. archive moment is going to skyrocket in value.
Let's
I have 2 of them.
There he is. Another Maverick / Nick.
Yep.
He was the Knicks twice.
Yep.
The weird thing, and Ryan can attest to this, is that when someone comes to the Garden and the other team, like a really good player on the other team, is having a big game, our fans don't necessarily cheer, but they're like oohing and ahhing and giving them respect. So it's really hard, even when you have home court as a Knicks fan, sometimes they're just in awe of the wonderful basketball or the quality of basketball that the other team is playing, especially if a player's having like 40, 50 points. So they'll start going and like cheering for the other guy sometimes because they just love the performance of it. And then it makes it harder for your team to win.
Yeah, the home court advantage goes away, but everybody's just enjoying the game, which is really cool. I mean, it's a place that you can't wait to be as a fan or a player like we're talking about. And I mean, it's just a special moment to be in that arena, whether you're on the court or right off of it.
It's a bucket list either way.
Yeah, bucket list item for sure. Man, we could keep going for a long time, Yoda, just talking Knicks basketball. Obviously, one more thing is going to come up a ton. Dude, this was great. Just collecting and connecting with you, finally getting face to face and hanging out as a crew.
thank you guys so much for having me. Honestly, this was a blast. I'm honored that you guys selected me, and you know, I'm just happy to be a Collectin and Connectin member. And honestly, there's been a lot more good than bad in my Top Shot journey, and a lot of it's because of all the people I've chatted with and talked about. So
good vibes, fam.
That's
Absolutely.
right. Dude,
If
so
you want to
great
join
have
the
you
good
on.
vibes he's mentioning, he did talk about jumping on the Discord. That's how he won tickets and different things. We're always doing giveaways for moments, but mostly we're talking a ton of strategy and talking our Top Shot journeys together. And then we're also trading moments and helping each other out. There's all kinds of fun stuff going on. Lots of inside jokes. Jump in there in the Discord, Twitter, Instagram now, and obviously here on YouTube, collectinandconnectin.com. Appreciate all you guys. I see you, Glenifer.
Dude, Yoda, so glad to have you on, man. Welcome back anytime. Anytime you want to talk Knicks, please reach out to Glenifer, not me. Anytime you want to talk Mavs, I'm always here for you. So,
Well, they're the same thing, right? Because there's so many dual players.
That's
yeah,
true.
it's
The
essentially the same
crossover
thing.
is real. That's GWEX20 down there, a.k.a. Glenifer. And then Ryan is Top Shot Yoda. Appreciate you, King Brett. Appreciate everybody in Collectin and Connectin. You guys are the best. We love being here with y'all.
Yeah,
Peace
everyone have
out,
an awesome
man.
time.
See you next time.